Hey guys, my name is David Tenorio. I'm an art instructor here in the Bay Area in California, and I've been teaching art for about 15 years with specialties in figure drawing and sketchbook techniques. In this video, we're going to be doing a drawing that includes some techniques such as the ball and jaw method, my form of shading and ballpoint pen, and an emphasis on the idea of focal point and how to keep your viewer's attention on a particular part of the drawing. So let's go ahead and check it out. Before I start, actually, let me flip over here to this page. I want to show something that's very important when I start basically any portrait drawing, any drawing of a head. And anytime I start a drawing of a head, I do what's called ball and jaw. These are the main shapes that I use to establish the head, especially to get it on the paper. You might notice, hopefully you can see on camera, that there's these very faint lines going through my head right here. There's like a curve right there. Even more gentle, you can see one right here. And what these are examples of the ball and jaw, where I take my tool, my pen or my pencil, even a paintbrush, and I'll draw a circle. This represents the top of the head. I'll draw the circle. I'll at times draw where the figure is looking. So I might put like a very gentle line down the middle for where the axis is, like the middle of the face or where the figure of the character is looking. And then I will draw the jaw, which could be like a simple U shape. You can also put the actual jaw, like the cut in it. And the point would be is this is how I start my head on the paper. This is how I establish it on there. And then additionally, I'm truly representing the structure of the head, the structure of the skull. Of course, ball and jaw referring to the cranium and the jaw itself. So for instance, with a figure like this figure is turned in what we call 3/4. So this would be totally, front on view. This person's looking straight at us. When someone's turning their head slightly, but not fully in profile, we would call that 3/4 view. So if I was starting this figure, just like I did with this head, I would draw a circle. I draw where the figure is looking, and then I would draw a jaw. And this is something that I will adjust, in fact, big time. Like I'll make it bigger, smaller, I'll narrow it in, I'll grow it out, but it's my starting point. Something that I often champion is I want some information on the paper to tweak and to edit. So as much as I love efficiency and curation and making sure that the lines I'm putting are not wasteful, like I'm not trying to put too many like extra lines, at the same time, kind of like sculpting, I really like there being information, marks on the paper that I can see and begin to adjust. So all that to say, I don't try to stress myself with like, oh, I hope these first lines are perfect or exactly as they should be. It's kind of the opposite. I'm doing the best I can to be accurate in my proportion, but I respect, hey, I'm going to be tweaking this. I'm going to be moving things around a little bit, stuff like that. So yeah, the ball and jaw. So draw the circle for the top of the head, or kind of like the size of the largest portion of the head, where the figure is looking, and then a jaw to, of course, represent that lower half. One last thing I'll point out is that this is especially important when you're drawing someone in profile, which, to be honest, with our reference photo, this person is almost in profile. Like it's a very strong 3/4 view. The figure is turning enough that we can still see their other eye, like on the other side, and yet they're almost like completely sideways, like they're getting so close to that. So this is especially important when you're drawing someone in profile or really turning to the side, because what's often neglected is how far back the back of the head goes in profile, the skull or the head itself. So that ball, if we're drawing someone from the side, we'll see this when we start our drawing. We might even draw it a little bit more of an ellipse or elliptical, a little bit more of like an oval, where the figure is looking, in this case to the side, let's say to the right. And then finally the jaw. The reference photo that we're working with today is a really great example of a head or head structure, because this figure has a very short haircut, like the hair is basically shaved, or it's like to the skin. And so we're able to see, the structure of the skull. I think I have, like we all do in life, right? I randomly have a skull here on my desk. So here again is front view, 3/4, so that's when someone's turned slightly. Think of course the fraction, right? Like 3/4, 75%, so it's almost like 75% like turned. In profile, you'll notice that halfway into the skull is our jaw. This would be where our ear is, and the point I'm making would be where your jaw connects, you have an entire half of your head, like another half going on. This gets even more complicated, or potentially, like even more noticeable, this large part of your head in the back, when you factor in hair, because keep in mind, hair is not stuck like directly to your head. It might have volume. It might be growing away from your head. So when you see someone turned in profile, you'll notice there's a lot of room back there. There's a lot going on back there. And that conversation or that kind of idea starts with the ball and jaw, kind of representing the skull itself.